So after understanding how an administrator arrives at a proper decision by following certain steps in decision making, even we have to follow a certain steps in arriving at the most defensible answer. The first step being knowing the topic and at the same time knowing the issue inside that question and decoding that particular issue inside the question and keeping it within the boundary limits. And if it is crossing the boundary limits, we can judge or we can arrive at a most defensible answer. After that, a distinction have to be made within the question itself among the options what we have chosen. And after eliminating certain options in the question, we have to defend ourselves in why we need to choose one particular option as a correct answer. For that, we need a very good scrutiny. Even if we have a strong subject knowledge, if this scrutiny is weak, then we may arrive at a wrong decision. After understanding everything, if the question is wrong, then we should not conclude that that wrong question is due to lack of knowledge, but it is due to collapse in thinking process at one of the other step. So we have to choose the remedy accordingly rather than gaining more sources or reading the same thing repeatedly illogically. And we will understand it with an example which has been given in the previous year UPSC prelims paper. Here, the UPSC has given 3 statements. After reading these 3 statements, we need to conclude that the nature of the question first. So the nature of the question here is the cause effect sequence affecting one of the thing on the earth, that is earth rotation. So what causes and what are the effects of the earth that influence the earth rotation and shift in its axis? That is the nature of the question. And after understanding the nature of the question, we have to identify the exact issue inside that. So the exact issue is the factors that are influencing the earth's rotation is the exact issue. After identifying the issue, we need to decode the statements 1, 2 and 3. When we decode the statements, we can arrive at certain understanding about the question that the factors that are influencing the earth's rotation, is it anything that is happening in the outer atmosphere, or is it anything happening on the surface of the earth? This is a statement that have to be decoded. These two statements are claiming that. Statement 2 is claiming that a solar flare event is affecting the earth's rotation, and the third statement is claiming that redistribution of mass is resulting in the shift in the earth's rotation. This is how we need to decode the statement. After decoding it, now we have arrived at a certain stage, like is it the solar flares that is happening outside the earth, or is it due to any internal redistribution of mass? Now we need to have a clear boundary clarity. Does the solar flares really affect the earth's rotation, or is it due to the mass redistribution? When a solar flare is affecting the earth's outer atmosphere, it will be tackled or dealt by the earth's magnetic field. If the solar flares have a minimal impact on the earth surface, if the solar flares have to affect the surface of the earth, by now we would not have existed on the earth, because only that the earth's magnetic field and the earth's outer atmosphere is protecting us from this powerful solar radiation. Now we are living on the earth. So this gives us that statement 2 is crossing its boundary. So we have to look this option as suspicion. Now the credibility of this statement is drastically reduced after we have used our common sense. So now the statement 2, whatever the option which is giving the statement 2 as right, have to be eliminated. In the option 1, the statement 2 is claimed to be correct, so we have to eliminate option A. And even in the option B, the statement 2 has been claimed as correct, so we have to eliminate the option B2. Now we have arrived at option C and option D. This is a boundary clarity. And internal redistribution of the mass does help in shifting the rotation and the axis of the earth. So the claim that has been made in the statement 3, the credibility of this claim has been increased. So most of the time the statement through 3 might be correct. So which among the following options what we have left is claiming that the statement 3 is correct? Here in the option D, the statement 3 is being marked as wrong. So we have arrived at one of the option to be most probably correct. Now we have to distinguish before marking the answer 3 as right in the OMR sheet. We have to scrutinize and we have to distinguish the actual concept given by the UPSC. Now after eliminating these 3 options, to mark option C as a right, we need to have a proper defensibility mechanism before we mark the answer as right in the OMR sheet. Is this statement scientifically defensible? Yes. With this kind of confidence, we can mark option C as right. But this requires a scrutiny. If we are not able to scrutinize this particular thing with the common sense and the knowledge what we have gained by reading so many sources, if we are failing this scrutiny, then we may arrive at a wrong option. This is just an example and we'll be doing it with the other questions as well. Now, if we are failing in any one of the steps that may result in arriving at a wrong answer or a false option, we need to identify that exact thinking process what has been collapsed in arriving at a most defensible answer. Then we need to correct itself rather than choosing the more material and the more knowledge and gaining more and more knowledge. So this is how an administrative mindset helps us in arriving at a most defensible answer in the UPSC prelims examination. So here the statement 1 is claiming that the shift in Earth's rotation, yes, it is possible, but the statement 2 is wrong, as we have discussed. When the water moves towards the equator, there is the mass redistribution. So it affects the Earth's rotation. So the statement 1 is right and the statement 3 is right. And it is the statement 3 is explaining statement 1. So here in the third option, only one of the statement 2 or 3 is correct. And that explains statement 1. This is how we need to arrive at an answer after decoding it.